Hey, welcome into the GASO Rundown, sponsored by Baylor Scott and White Rehab Centers. Today we'll be recapping the Austin Round Rock event that we had last weekend. But before we get started, Blue, I'm going to pass it to you for a little bit of GASO housekeeping.
Oh yeah, July 8th through 11th is quickly approaching. Get registered for the open period event that will be taking place in Duncanville and throughout the DFW area. EYBL teams are going to be in attendance. We have counted 5 of them.
Blue, are you sure? Can we not? No, we can't name them yet. All right, next week we'll name them, but we can't do it right now.
We'll get. We'll get.
It's gonna be loaded.
It's going to be loaded. College coaches are calling already, asking for information. We will pass that along to y'all as soon as. Give it about 5 to 7 days, like I said. But make sure you go register at GreatAmericanShootout.com. That is going to be run Thursday through Sunday. The following week in July 16th to the 18th, is going to be in Fort Worth, where it is going to be showcase games. You're going to come in, you're going to see your schedule, you're going to know exactly when you're playing. The college coaches are going to look at the schedule and know. We have Under Armour in town that weekend, and so why not? We've already talked to some Under Armour teams that are going to feed into the Great American Shootout with their second teams of 17s and 16s, so it's really exciting times coming up. And of course, we got TABC coming up this weekend, so a lot of basketball.
Make sure you're following at Texas Hoops GASO to get all the informational updates, and we'll be sending out emails and all that stuff as well. So those are going to be 2 awesome events that we're really looking forward to having. Now moving back into Austin Round Rock, we had a lot of champions. Very competitive week of basketball, and Blue, why don't you run down those champions?
Yes, real quick. Starting with the 6th grade division, you had Next Level Jerome beating Upside Athletics 62-57. 7th grade was Syntex Attack from Austin beating Next Level Raiders 59-56. 8th grade Team Temple 14U beats Big Texas 57-45. Then moving on to the NIT into the high school ranks, NTX Cardinals 2024 takes down Devoted 2024 71-62. Texas Boys Gold wins over AD Elite 2024 Gold 71-69. Now moving on to the NCAA, local HCI Storm 2024 beats Pro Skills SA 23 Red 80-75. Factory SA beats Syntex DeWitty 57-45. HC Next Level beats Lubbock Matadors 50-45. Finally, the NBA divisions. Always competitive, like you said. ASAC 16s get their first championship of the year by taking down a local.
Actually, the league. ASAC 16s won it 23-25. They've been great.
Sorry, I do apologize. It's been a little time since then, but they wound up beating a local team that had multiple 20 unsigned seniors on it. So very great weekend for them. THP Orange beats Next Level Raiders Elite 60-48. Shirts Cowboys takes down Syntex Lee 72-67, and finally THP Blue beats ATX Lockdown by 20 65-45 and gets their championship.
Yes.
So there's the rundown of the champions. And
one more that we actually missed. New Braunfels Unicorns did beat the Tomball Wildcats 91-66. A couple awesome scores, a couple 40-point games from them. But yes, this was a THP weekend.
Yeah.
They may have had the most wins out of any program in the GASOs this season without a championship. Mm-hmm. And their orange team came up big with Marion Williams and a couple other guys, and then their blue team came up very big. I want to move into the blue team in particular. Mm-hmm. The guy that you've been very high on, you and I in particular, we've had multiple conversations. Donovan Santoro, he does it again. He's explosive. He can shoot the 3. He can handle at that 6'8" size, and it's just all coming together for him.
Yeah, no, for sure. His handle, is the first thing that stands out about me. At that size, often we see him at the perimeter shooting around, but he can go create off the dribble and get into the paint, dunk on kids, And it's not just a handle; like he's shifty with it. He can move his defender in traffic. A lot of ISO stuff he's able to do, which is really impressive. But especially in these big games, like I said, they've won a lot of games this summer, and they've been in big games with some big teams, and he always seems to, be one of their guys that really gets them going, especially from their perimeter.
And we saw this from him early on too, last year when he transferred in from California. He's putting it all together again. I'm not going to say that he had the greatest of high school seasons, but I think he's figuring it out, and he's going to turn a lot of heads. That's where, like you said, the skill, the handles, everything, and he's playing with confidence. And that's always a big plus for any kid that's going to step out onto the court.
Another player with a lot of pedigree, Jalen Brooks. He showed out, man. He's a true 3-level guy. He plays with some sort of edge. I love it, man. And THP and Lockdown, they had already played in a championship before. Lockdown did get the better of them in that one, and then they had this rematch, and THP Blue was ready. And, man, I could watch that game 100 times. These two teams played very, very well. Do you have anything to add on Jalen?
His body control when he finishes, like he's able to, get into the defender's frame and, finish. And a lot of guys, he's more of a lean build, but he knows how to use his body well. A lot of times you see guards throw their body looking for a foul and aren't able to focus on the finish, but he gets in there, finishes really well. And the moxie he has, and, the younger brother, Armani Brooks, who have had a big time rookie season for the Houston Rockets, I'm not going to bet against Jalen Brooks. Just seeing the hard work ethic from his older brother, he's getting valuable experience mentally and in the gym from his brother. He's just one of those guys that's continuing to get it done.
Yeah, nobody else on that list has that luxury of being able to train. And like he said, he's also a guy that's been climbing the steps on the rankings, and he shows something a little bit more each time, and shows that he's a leader.
Yeah, heading into ATX Lockdown, they did come up short in the championship game, but another championship game that they had an opportunity to win, I believe, 4 straight GASOs.
That would be quite
a feat. Yeah, and Joseph Waring did not disappoint again. He had a game where he just went bonkers.
Yeah,
he's hard not to mention.
We talk about other kids in this 2022 class. It's only going to take one for Joseph Waring to get that Division I offer. And watching him play, he went in one half. He was going. I think he hit 5 3-pointers. He comes out in the second half. I'm sitting there courtside. I turned to him and I said, can you get me 1 or 2 more? And he turns to me and he just straight faces, I have more. And so I think that kind of attitude, taking it out onto the court, really shows how determined and how hard-nosed he is. And he's doing a lot of great things on the basketball court. Yeah,
a guy I want to mention too that we've had some conversations about, Timmons, is Levi Rutledge, and he showed just a different gear in his athleticism this weekend when he ripped and went baseline and put one down. That made me so excited. The kid, he does everything right, and now it seems to be, as he's heading into his junior year, things are coming together for that kid.
Yeah, he's done such a good job of filling the role of a glue guy for a very high-powered team in ATX Lockdown, and I think he's finally gotten comfortable enough he is the only underclassmen on that squad, playing up with all the 2022s. So, some of those kids, it takes a little bit while for them to really want to assert themselves. And I think this weekend was, they kind of relied on him for some of that scoring punch. Aaron Jacob, we mentioned, signed, and is not a part of that program anymore. And, I'm sure ATX Lockdown is happy that he was able to sign and do that. But they are missing that void. So I think Joseph Waring and Levi Rutledge offer that big wing perimeter threat for them, and Levi really stepped up and brought that dimension to that team this weekend.
And just wait till July when they get Zach Ingles back.
Absolutely.
It's going to put them on another level.
Yeah, in their younger group, Lockdown 23, you got the chance to watch them a few times. Locke Cunningham, what can y'all tell me about him?
He's got that toughness. He's got that Cunningham toughness. I mean, we have to go back and he's not his brother Brock, who plays at the University of Texas, but he's got the bloodline. His father, Ed Cunningham, played football at Texas, and so we always point to that, and you can kind of see him developing. And he's skilled. He can knock down shots. He's going to want to be that guy to go dip in there and take a charge and just be hard-nosed. So we're going to continue to evaluate him, but there's a lot there that you start touching on that's going to translate.
Yeah, I really liked, he did mix. I saw signs of his brother. He plays a little bit of that attitude, that meanness. He did create multiple extra possessions for his squad. And like we say, he's not Brock, because Brock is something we haven't seen in a long time. But he does show that hustle. He created a lot of offensive rebounds. What I was really impressed with was his passing. He threaded the needle a lot of times, and with that height, he's a bigger wing. You know, he's able to facilitate from the top of the key and get a lot of people involved, and I'm very intrigued about him.
Yeah, moving in, passing, perfect segue in Cole Andrew Heights. He's made some plays.
Yeah,
he stood out.
Yeah. I mean, he was averaging 3 or 4 threes a game, maybe 4 or 5. I'm going through the film right now, but anytime they needed a bucket, he was ready to shoot it. In transition, he's lethal. You know, the guards pitch it ahead to him. He steps right at threes very confidently. Runs the show, very, you know, heady guard that, you know, won't get the ball taken from him. Just very solid, and I'm really excited to see that duo continue to play.
Yeah. Moving into Team Temple, 16 in particular, they had 2 prospects that stood out to us this weekend. For one, Tyshawn Archie, end-to-end speed, pace. He's like one of those athletes that just looks like he's going at a different speed than every single person on the court. And it's, I don't know, it's really fascinating. He gets by whoever he wants. He can pull up, hit the shot. I love watching him.
Yeah, well, one thing about him, like you mentioned his speed, he was going to corners and nobody was locating him. Hello, he hit 2 on you already. Go guard him. And that's where he can change it up, that where he's in the corners hitting a 3, all of a sudden he gets it and he just goes right around you. And he's got really good court vision to get the ball to his other players too.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. Another prospect, CJ Barnes, he's been getting some love lately and well deserved. He's legit 6'10".
Yeah.
He moves well, he can run the floor really well. He can get up and defend the rim, which you like to see. It's all coming together physically. Sometimes at that size, you know, it takes a little bit longer to gather all your coordination, but you're starting to see him. He's got a little nice little lefty and hook that he showed, and uses chicken wings to get around guys and finish. I like him. He's definitely a guy that I'm going to have to watch a few more times.
Yeah, and you know, coming back from Rice camp with Houston Christian, he gets that Rice offer, which always boosts anybody's level of play on the court. And you see all the tools, like you said. The tools are there. One thing that Sam Lowe mentioned right away is like at 6'10", 6'9", 6'10", that dude can run the floor. Yeah. And when you're at that size, you can tell that his body's still trimming up. And at that size, the way he can move down the middle of the paint and be that target and finish around the rim, he's got a chance.
He's got a chance. That's a great way to say it. Stat elite, old school guy, Joe Longoria. You love him, Blue.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you talk about doing dirty work, being the main focus of the team. He's going to do everything. And what I really like about him is that he goes in there and battles at his size, and not just being a guard. He goes in there to rebound, grab the ball, push it up court, scores. Little soft little floaters, always in the right place at the right time. There's a lot to like about his game.
Yeah. Right place at the right time for sure.
Yeah.
Like I've covered Stat Elite from him playing last year, and now he takes more of a role. But he doesn't try, like the team that he played last year with Jackson Reed, you know, that was their guy. He was their scoring guy, and Joe Longoria did a lot of those things. What I like about Joe Longoria is he's doing those things he did last year, but at a higher level.
Right.
You know, he didn't try to like be who he's not.
Yeah.
He knows what he needs to do to help that team win, and you know, they almost pulled off that upset against ATX Lockdown. I think, was it the first round?
Yep.
The first round of bracket play. I just like that he didn't try to like start doing too much, and he's just who he is, but he's taking it to another level this year.
He didn't forget who he was last year,
Right.
which is pretty awesome.
There's another guy on that team, Adonis Collier. I mean, maybe one of the best athletes that we've seen. He's about a 6'2", 6'3" guard, but he rebounds really well. He gets chippies around the rim, and then he's just electric in transition. Get out of the way if he's coming down the paint. That's all I got to tell you. Moving into Texas Impact Houston, Carmelo Yakubu. He's made some impressions, Blue. Tell us a little bit why.
I mean, first off, when he steps on the court, that body, the shoulders, the strength that he plays at. He shows some versatility as a little bit of a ball handler, but he is very good at pushing himself into the forward position where he can rebound, he can defend, he can muscle up against a lot of different players, and on the offensive end, he just can score around the basket because of how his upper body strength.
Yeah, a guy who's still available, 2021, KC Utalisa, is a scoring machine. You can go get buckets.
And athletic.
Yeah, I mean, guys that can score the ball, he's definitely, we've been doing a feature called He's Still Available, and I think this is a guy who can fit in a program somewhere and impact immediately. A really good player. Moving into a younger guy, ASAC 15, Solomon Marshall, 2024 from St. Andrews, is a really cool story.
Yeah.
Had cancer, he's back, and dude is hooping.
Oh,
he's got a chance.
He looks like he floats. When he hits that floor and rises up, he's able to position his body and square up to the basket. It seems like in midair and just hit shots.
Yeah, unbelievable handler of the basketball, push the ball ahead, and just a playmaker. You talked about the elevation on the jump shot. That's special. That's not every kid has that.
Right.
So when you see guys like that, it's pretty cool. One of the GASO favorites, Sabo, we get to see them quite a bit, and they are reconstructed. That's the best way to say it. And they're getting better.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen it where it was packed with unsigned seniors, and then tournament by tournament, those guys fade and go sign, and then they pick up another piece. Christian Green, has obviously helped them. They're picked up Chris Villarreal this weekend. And you just see this team being very interesting when you come to July because they're going to compete with Gaston. They didn't have Chesney this weekend, but they'll have him back for July 8th.
No, I like what Chris Villarreal brings to that team. Just, transition-wise, that's where I think he thrives. Yeah. And with a lot of players around him, Gaston and others, playing with more confidence this summer, I think Villarreal gives everybody a chance to really get going.
Sleeper on the team, Halliburton. And so he's a strong upper body. Yeah. And I told Jim Stewart, I said, this is an interesting team because now they have 3 weeks off between Austin to July 8th, the open period, and they're just going to get better because they do work together in that in the gym. So it's a pretty sneaky team with a lot of prospects.
Pro Skills San Antonio 23. Some guys to like. Unfortunately, Devontae Durst got hurt. Hopefully we'd see him at TABC. But they had a lot to like with Caden Rizzo.
Starting off with Caden, he was able to really get things going from the perimeter. And so he looked like he didn't miss.
Yeah, and he hit a huge shot to tie game.
Oh, yes, to send it overtime.
He was very good. Zachary Rigg.
Cowboy.
Sounds like a tough guy. Is a tough guy. Yeah. Makes plays. He just makes a lot of winning plays. You like Luke Mills?
Skilled. Can do a little bit of inside out. Very intriguing team with some 23 prospects that we're able to really sit down and concentrate on. And like you said, Rizzo was really good from the perimeter. I just can't touch on that enough of how he kind of just gets the ball and just starts hitting shots. You better locate him.
Yeah. This whole team section has been hit on teams that we just feel like are getting better. I don't know a team that's gotten better or has done a good job. They just keep getting better. Texas Hard Work 23s. Those 3 guards, phenomenal. They can all shoot it. They can all handle it. They can all score in transition. I'm talking about Silas Livingston, Jerry Martinez, and Matthew Soto. They have made a big fan out of me.
Yeah, me too. And the game I filmed fully, Hard Work versus HD Toros, they all took turns. Jerry started the game, 3 or 4 threes, I think. In the second half, Silas, right from the jump of the second half, got going in big fashion and ones, getting into the paint. And then Matthew Soto comes in with daggers down the stretch when it matters. They all 3 bring a little bit of something different. Silas can go coast to coast, crafty enough, smaller frame, but can get anywhere on the court that he wants. Jerry Martinez is shooting from 23, 25 feet. Matthew Soto out of the pick and roll, hitting the mid-range court at all 3 levels. A lot of pocket passes down to the rolling bigs. And there's a big that you like on that team.
Yeah, and I was going to mention Aaron Harden from Sam Houston, about 6'6", maybe pushing 6'7", but he's that little he's that athlete in the middle of the paint that you need when the balls go up from the perimeter, because he's the one that's grabbing the balls and putting them back in off of the misses, which sometimes there's not a lot of misses on that team with all those shooters, but something about Silas Livingston, he committed to Incarnate Word a few months back, and now you're starting to see what Carson Cunningham, the head coach of Incarnate Word, really likes about this guy, and they're not worried about size. They love his quickness and his feel to dump the ball off to open teammates, and you're sitting there going, okay, this is just gradually, he's moving his game forward.
And then I want to talk about the addition of Will Nathaniel. We've seen it come together for him at times, and he's a nice fit with that group because he kind of brings that real high-level athleticism that team can use. And they're just a dangerous team. I mean, they can go out there and make 15 threes in a game. And they're an interesting one heading into open period. So I'm really looking forward to watching them. We've hit on the teams. We're going to move into individual players that really stood out to us. I'll start with one. Riken Autry for the Shirts Cowboys. He's at Marion High School. This dude is one of the purest shots that I've seen. I mean, he's very smooth with the ball in his hands. He can really fill it up as an on-ball guy, and then if you put him off the ball, he's going to light you up. I saw him at the end of our tournament in a championship game, and he caught my eye. The dude made 3 or 4 threes right in front of me in the 15 minutes I was over there. So I really enjoyed watching Riken Autry. Chris Evans was a GASO staff favorite through the weekend. He's a pest on defense, man.
On both sides of the ball, because quick hands, quick feet, ability to accelerate in the open court, score some buckets. I mean, that guy's a leader out there. He's telling his team where to go set up, how they're going to strategize to win. It seems like on the defensive end, and how to really impressed with his overall game.
Yeah, after I finished filming one of my games, I saw Sam sitting over there watching him. I'm like, okay. He had been talking about that he was going to go watch him. So I walked over there, got my camera out, and within 2 possessions, picked the kid right there when it got an easy layup. I'm like, oh, okay, there we go. That's all I needed to see.
Yeah, you talk about that kind of clean edge. Like he fits the bill. Like he's going to get up in you, and he's going to take the ball from you if you're soft with it at all. And he just gets in the lane and makes plays for others. Really enjoyed watching him. Tyson Wybrew, he played with Drive Nation Austin. 6'5", inside-out type of threat. He can really shoot it. Or if he's got a smaller defender, throw it inside. He can go get a bucket.
Yep.
I really enjoyed watching him. San Antonio Hoops Elite. We've talked about Jackson Adams a bunch. The dude just puts it in the bucket.
San Antonio Hoops Elite might need to put me on payroll because anytime I'm filming, he doesn't miss a shot. And this weekend, they play Texas Dream, and I kid you not, 12 points before, and we played 15-minute halves, before it got under the 13-minute mark. 12 points, 3 threes, and an 1 3. And I'm like, oh my goodness, yeah.
When he starts shooting, you feel that it's going in.
And the team feels that too. I will say this, they do a really good job. Even if it's not running set, the next time, once he starts to get going after 2 threes, they're just good in transition. He knows how to get open and get those shots. And like even on the and 1 3, it was a shot fake, step to the side, and 1. Like he knows the defense knows that he's getting hot, and he still knows how to get the shot off.
He's definitely a fun watch. Lastly, Ryan Garza, HD Toros. Dude gets better every time I see him. You made a good comparison to him with smaller.
Yeah. So Lou always has, he has his lead guards, and then he has these guys that gradually over the spring and summer really start to assert themselves as that scoring puncher this year. Long shots, Shane Perales. Ryan's really that guy that dagger threes, just big time shots to keep them in games. I like his size. I think he's going to be one that a lot of coaches are going to have to look back down at the rosters during live period and be like, wait, who is this kid? And he's going to get on a lot of colleges' radars very quickly.
Yeah, he's very good, and the Toros always does a great job. That's going to wrap up this edition of the GASO Rundown. Make sure and follow us on Twitter at Texas Hoops GASO and on Instagram. And then follow at Texas Hoops TV and follow at GASO Clips to make sure you're well-rounded and you are keeping up with everything Great American Shootout. We look forward to talking next time.